Well, welcome to the 700 Club. The French journalists who were attacked by Islamic terrorists last week aren't backing down. A new edition of Charlie Hebdo will hit the newsstands today with a cartoon of Muhammad on the cover.
Here at home, the U.S. military's social media has been hacked by ISIS sympathizers who posted a deadly warning from the Islamic State. George Thomas has that story.
Less than a week after the brutal massacre at the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, those who survived the attack are speaking out for the first time.
There wasn't a day we didn't receive death threats, but no one could have imagined that our team would be decimated with a Kalashnikov.
The staff is working around the clock to finish their next issue, but it has not been easy.
We lost 8 people. 8 important people for us, 8 friends.
The magazine's new cover features a cartoon of the Prophet Muhammad holding a sign that reads, "Je suis Charlie."
Obviously, for us, it's a little difficult to write about anything else other than the attack.
With a tear running down the Prophet's face, the caption on the cover in French reads, "Tout est pardonné." In English, all is forgiven. Some 3 million copies will hit newsstands on Wednesday. Security in Paris and across France is tight ahead of the release, with some 10,000 soldiers deployed, half of them protecting Jewish schools, synagogues and neighborhoods.
This is very scary, and you have got to be afraid. But you have to be a free man, because if you are not free, we can no longer live.
Authorities say as many as 6 suspects in last week's attacks may still be at large. Meanwhile, a propaganda coup for the terror group ISIS. Its sympathizers reportedly took control of the Twitter and YouTube sites of the U.S. military's Central Command, the lead agency fighting the ISIS terror threat. Hackers renamed the Twitter feed Cyber Caliphate and posted several threats, including this one: "American soldiers, we are coming, watch your back." Hackers also uploaded ISIS propaganda videos and posted the names and addresses of generals. Hours after the attack, the Pentagon played down the incident, calling it cyber vandalism, but the FBI is investigating the incident. As some of the bodies of those killed in the Jewish supermarket arrived in Israel for burial, the White House admitted it should have sent someone with high profile to Sunday's massive anti-terrorism rally in Paris. More than 3 million people took part in the rally, including 40 world leaders. George Thomas, CBN News.
In all the discussion about free speech, we need to keep in mind the source. That French newspaper, it's a weekly, was sued by the Islamic Council of France and by the Grand Mosque of Paris and Lyon, all in an effort to stop publication. That's the source of this. And when that lawsuit was not successful, their offices were then firebombed. Their employees were then put under police protection, and then they were massacred, all because they wanted to print cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad. That's the source here. So if you hear in the news that somehow or other this is Islamic extremism, point out, well, was it extremism for the French Muslim Council to try to sue to stop free speech? Was it extremism when their mosque turned out to say we need to stop this kind of speech? That's the question. We have to look at the source of this terror. What was the ideology behind it? And that gives you an illumination of what's really going on and why it seems to be spontaneous eruptions of extraordinary violence, whether it's in Ottawa or in Paris or in Israel or in Jakarta. It just seems to produce this kind of violence on a regular basis. We need to wake up and realize the source. In other news, the hunt is still on for other members of the terror cell that carried out last week's attack. Ephraim Graham has that story from the CBN newsroom. Ephraim?
Gordon, the manhunt is stretching out across Europe. As George mentioned in his story, authorities are concerned that 6 possible co-conspirators could still pose a threat. Authorities in Bulgaria arrested a French citizen today who may be linked to the 2 brothers who attacked the Charlie Hebdo newspaper. The 29-year-old suspect was arrested under a European warrant citing his alleged terrorist ties. And French police are still searching for a man who was seen driving a car registered to the widow of one of the gunmen. Turkish officials say that widow has now escaped to Syria. The killing of 4 French Jews at the kosher market in Paris last week has deepened fears among Europe's Jewish communities about their future in European countries. The Paris murders came after deadly strikes on a Jewish museum in Belgium and a Jewish school in southwestern France. Leaders in Israel are encouraging European Jews to immigrate to the Jewish state, but community leaders and top politicians in Europe have urged people to stay in their homelands. Dr. Rick Saker, one of the American doctors who beat Ebola last year, is going back to Liberia, the same place where he contracted the deadly virus. Saker plans to spend several weeks helping overworked colleagues in the missionary hospital where he worked for years. He says he will not be working directly with Ebola patients, but he might be asked to help from time to time, since doctors say he is now immune to the virus.
This is just such a practical way of showing the love of God to the people of Liberia, and we just feel it's so important, so crucial.
That's just a part of our relationship and our calling from the Lord.
Saker expects to spend most of his time treating patients with malaria and other health issues like high blood pressure and diabetes. Those are your latest headlines. Gordon and Terry will be back with more of the 700 Club right after this.
Does God still heal today?
I knew that something miraculous had happened to me.
I was born deaf, and then my ears got healed.
You know, you can put your trust in medicine, but the ultimate healing is going to have to be God.
When they took that second scan, and it came back completely negative, like just gone.
Find out how God still heals today in Pat Robertson's latest teaching, Be Healed. Available now.
As the pastor of a small church, Tony Moore made just $200 a week, so he took his second job to help pay the bills. 20 years later, Tony still has that side job, and he's turned it into a multi-million-dollar business.
For more than 20 years, watermelons have been the source of success for Tony and Kathy Moore. They run a successful wholesale business together, but early on in their relationship, they wondered if they'd ever be able to get ahead. Tony didn't make much pastoring a small church with about 35 members.
For a while, my first set salary was $200 a week.
Then with minimal medical insurance, they faced big bills after they had their first baby.
We came very close to getting public assistance, but I just didn't feel personally that I was supposed to do that.
Instead, they tithed from their meager income and relied on God.
We just did the best we could. I've always tried to be a frugal shopper and thrifty and use coupons and just stretch the budget.
I can't explain to you how the bills would be here maybe and the income here, but at the end of the month it seemed that they would meet every single time.
Pastors of small churches often have second jobs. Tony was no exception.
Back in the early 90s, my stepfather was a farmer. He had 300 or 400 acres of melons he grew, and so I took an old Toyota pickup truck that I had and a trailer and would pick up 100 to 200 watermelons at the time, and I started peddling them out.
Tony did so much business out of the back of a pickup that other farmers took notice and asked him to start selling their melons too. As their business grew, they made sure their tithe kept up with their increasing income.
Food Line was our first corporate client. It wasn't that I got the call from them, they got the call from me, and then I kept pushing on it. When we pray for God to bless us and to provide for us, God oftentimes blesses us with the ability to do those things that need to be done.
Soon he was shipping out melons by the thousands.
And I remember that first year I sold 10 tractor-trailer loads, and I thought I'd really done something. And now, during the busy time of our year here, we can do 20 to 25 tractor-trailer loads in a day. And I remember one year sitting down working on my taxes, and my giving that year exceeded my adjusted gross income just a few years before. My thought was, I wonder how much I can top that by next year.
On top of their tithe, the Moores give to a number of ministries, including CBN.
CBN has really meant a lot to us over the years as we've watched the program and seen how God has blessed people through the program itself as well as Operation Blessing, plus CBN News, because I get to hear news from a Christian perspective.
Today, Tony pastors a considerably larger church, while Moore's Produce brokers hundreds of truckloads of watermelons every summer. Their kids help out with the business, and together they enjoy the side benefits as a family. They credit their success to giving.
We've always been tithers. We teach our children to tithe, and we found that you just can't outgive God.
You know, it's all about Him, and when we honor Him, He indeed honors us.
When we honor Him, He indeed honors us. That's the voice of experience that knows what it's like to have hard times and then knows what it takes to have the blessings of God. Here it is from Deuteronomy chapter 8, and we all need to remember this. Never think that it was your own strength and energy that made you wealthy. Always remember that it is the Lord your God who gives you the power to become rich. He gives us this power. Why? Because we put His kingdom first. And when you do that, all these other things will be added unto you. Well, Danielle was out of work, and it wasn't long before she was out of money as well. She was down to her last $40 when she made an investment that got 100% return the very next day.
A few short years ago, Danielle Crisp lost her job as a hairstylist and was scraping to get by. In order to keep food on the table for her and her sons Matthew and Derek, she regularly visited local food pantries.
I would go to church just to put food on the table, and it was horrible.
Then one day, while the boys were at school, Danielle came across the 700 Club. Gordon Robertson was talking about what happens when we give.
And it caught my attention, so I sat down and started watching and really taking it in.
Then, Gordon prayed.
And for those watching, making decisions, just speak to them, bless them, encourage them. For we ask it in Jesus' name, amen.
And I just felt God's presence. I felt like He said, you can start at $20 a month. I had $40 to my name. I was like, okay, God, you know I have $40. I need this and I need that. I was like, but if you're real, you'll please let me know.
So she sent a check for $20 to CBN. The next day, a friend stopped by and asked Danielle for a haircut and paid her $20.
I was like, wow, God's answering a prayer. And it just made me start thinking.
Danielle realized she could trust God with all of her prayers.
The first thing that happened was I got a job. Well, that job ended after a year or so, and then I got a better paying job. And with that better paying job, I gave more. And every time I gave more, I got blessed more.
Today, Danielle teaches the preschool class at her church and recently moved into a new home with her boys.
God's bigger than I ever thought He was, that He can do anything. And it means so much to take care of my family, to be there and support my kids like they've never known before. You can't outgive God.
God is bigger than we think. Start thinking, how big is He? How big is the possibilities that happen when you do things God's way? It seems counterintuitive, you know, that if you want to increase, to give away, but that's what the Bible says. Here it is from Proverbs chapter 11. It is possible to give away and become richer. It's also possible to hold on too tightly and lose everything. Yes, the liberal man shall be rich. By watering others, he waters himself. Now, I want you to meet some of our CBN partners. They're business owners from Virginia, and they're here to encourage you to give.
Hi, we're Sam and Sharon. We're longtime CBN partners and Virginia business owners. We're delighted to see what CBN is doing around the world to change people's lives. So we wanted to challenge you to join us by taking part in this exciting ministry. Right now, until the end of the hour, we'll match your giving dollar for dollar up to $60,000. You only have until the end of the hour, so join us by making your pledge to CBN now.
You heard it. We've got $60,000 on a challenge. We've got 43 minutes, 23 seconds on a clock. What are we asking you to do? We're asking you to join the 700 Club. So if that's you, consider it now and call us, 1-800-759-0700. Let's pray. Lord, we ask for blessing over the partners who made it possible to issue this challenge. And we know your word over them will be true. It is possible to give away. It's possible to do that and still have an increase. It's possible. With you, all things are possible. And And for those watching, making decisions, just encourage and speak to them, bless them. For we ask it in Jesus' name, amen. 60,000 on a challenge, 42 minutes on a clock. We need to hear from you. Some of you say I can give at 700 Club. That's $20 a month, 65 cents a day. Some of you say I can give at a higher level. We've got 700 Club Gold for you at $40 a month. 1,000 Club is $1,000 a year, and that breaks out to $84 a month. At whatever level God is speaking to you, give now. 1-800-759-0700. Tara?
Well, we're inviting you to be a part of all that CBN's doing around the world. And when you give to CBN, we want to give something back to you. This is Pat Robertson's latest. It's called Be Healed. And in it, you're going to hear miraculous stories of people who've been healed of everything from cancer to deafness. Plus, you'll get teaching from Pat on how to pray for healing. Here's a quick preview.
Pat Robertson recently recorded a very special program to answer the question, does God still heal today?
What we're trying to do here, Scott, is to tell people how they can access the power of the living God through Jesus Christ.
Discover the answers and let your faith be encouraged.
And then Jesus spelled out of how we can have healing and how we can have miracles.
In Pat Robertson's latest DVD, Be Healed, you'll learn the biblical basis for healing today, how to exchange anxiety and worry for faith and confidence, the way to pray for your healing and healing for those you love. Plus, meet real people who've experienced the miraculous healing power of God.
The first thing I did was reached out for a lifesaver. And that was God. You know, you can put your trust in medicine, but the ultimate healing is going to have to be God.
Find out the biblical principles that lead to healing in Pat Robertson's latest teaching, Be Healed. Available now.
We want you to be confident in reaching out to God for your healing too. That's why today, right now, when you join the 700 Club, Gordon just talked about the different club levels that are available. Our way of saying thank you to you for reaching out to others around the world is to send you Be Healed. I think you'll be encouraged by it. Your faith will be built. You'll be filled with hope. We want you to have this. So there's the toll-free number. It's 1-800-759-0700. Call, say I want to join the 700 Club, and we'll get Be Healed out to you right away. Gordon?
When the recession hit in 2008, Ken Young lost his job and his home. At one point, he was living in a friend's trailer with just 50 cents to his name. That's when he learned the secret to finding good work in a bad economy.
Ken Young takes pride in his work, and it shows. People call constantly needing his expertise. But it wasn't long ago the jobs had dried up, and he was homeless.
What bothered me was I was always able, from the time I left school till then, able to provide for myself. It was frightening.
It started in 2008. The economy had taken a downturn and Ken's phone stopped ringing. He also got divorced. He quickly went through what little savings he had and eventually lost his home.
I was worried. I go, what's next? What am I going to do?
In exchange for work, a friend let Ken spend the winter in a trailer he wasn't using. Any money he made on other jobs went to a storage shed for his tools and to pay his cell phone, the essentials of his trade. He lived on food stamps.
It felt like everything was taken away from me.
Then his cell phone was shut off. No phone, no work.
My mindset was turn to God. That was my mindset. And at that point, every chance I got, I was down on my knees praying. Get me out of this, God.
Ken was down to his last 2 quarters. He used one of them to call another friend.
And he says, I was just thinking about you. You need to come over to my house right now.
There, Ken started watching the 700 Club and learned about God's principles of giving. Now with internet access, he advertised on Craigslist.
If you give, it'll always be given back to you. I just never had faith enough to do it or believe it until I saw Pat, and then I've seen the testimonies on the show. I think that's what really brought it into my mind a lot more.
So he made a pledge to CBN. Then practically overnight, the referrals started pouring in. Soon he was back on his feet in his own place, and it's been that way ever since.
Given that 10% or more every month, it comes back to you. It just comes back to you. And my business, I'm booked, and I keep getting calls. It just keeps coming in.
In fact, he's in such high demand, he has to turn down work.
I've had people go, well, how come you're doing so well right now? I said, well, God's blessing me because I'm blessing him.
God's blessing me because I'm blessing him. That's the principle. We call it the law of reciprocity. Give, and it will be given unto you. It doesn't seem to make sense in the natural, but in God's universe, he backs up his word. And he says, when you give, I will give back to you. Well, not long ago, Letitia was living on unemployment and overwhelmed by bills. Then she made a decision, and suddenly her phone was ringing with job offers.
Letitia Thomas loves her job serving as a manager for a healthcare company. What she loves even more is raising her 5-year-old daughter. A few years ago, it was a different picture. Letitia was recently divorced, had lost her job, and was caring for her baby.
Not very happy with myself at that time and very unsure. But in the back of my mind, I just knew that God would provide. I just didn't know how. I was looking at my mess and said, God, how can you bless the situation? How can you help us here and now? This is too much. This is too much.
As Letitia scraped by on her savings and unemployment checks, the bills became unbearable.
Food was scarce in the house sometimes. We became best friends with a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
But even in her time of need, Letitia tithed faithfully to her church, something she had started months before.
I've seen God work before. Why would I stop now? Whether I'm going to tithe from my wages or from unemployment benefits or a random check in the mail, I'm going to give God what I said I would give him.
It came from something she learned at church.
They taught a basic biblical principle about sowing and that God is really looking for your obedience.
Not only that, Letitia decided to trust God and give more. Shortly after, her phone began to ring.
Every time my phone would ring, it was a different job. It was a different employer saying, are you available for an interview?
Letitia was offered a job. She was excited to get back to work, but soon she was ready for the next step. So she increased her giving again. One day, her supervisor came to her.
She hands me a folded up sheet of paper with a job position. And I applied for it. And I thought that was kind of odd that my current supervisor was showing me another job. She came to me and she said, I believe in you, and I believe that you have an abundant potential to do much more than you're doing right here. Look at this position and apply.
Letitia applied for the job, and 3 weeks later,
I was driving to my daughter's school when I received a phone call. And I answered the phone, and it's the HR director from the dream job. He said, well, I don't want to take up much more of your time, but I'd like to know if you could start this position in 2 weeks. I had to pull over. I had to pull over. I was on the phone, and he's like, are you there? Letitia, are you there? I'm like, yes. I said, can you give me a minute, please? I put the phone on mute, and I began to shout, hallelujah. I was just screaming in the car. I had to pull the car over. I was just so happy.
With a new job, Letitia's salary had doubled. Today, she continues to give more and credits all her success to God's faithfulness.
I had to do this. I didn't have any other resource, so I had to get to know God as my source. This is quoted all the time, Luke 6:38, give, and it shall be given unto you. In good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that you meet withal, it shall be measured back to you. I'm sitting here just saying, God has just been so faithful. I mean, really, I could have been anywhere else. It could have gone another way. It really could have. But God has just been so faithful.
God will be faithful to you if you have faith towards him. Here is the promise. It's from Hebrews chapter 11. Without faith, it is impossible to please him. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. Letitia learned that. She lived that. She memorized those promises, and she put the promises into action, and you see the result. God wants to bless his people. He loves us. He died for us. He wants us to have the desires of our heart. But first and foremost, he wants us to put him first. And when we do that with our finances, that's when the blessings come. If I can get a drum roll, I've got some great news. Some partners from Arizona say they want to add to this challenge. They want to add $104,000 to it, take it to $164,000. Let's pray. Lord, we ask for blessing over this, and we ask for multiplication, the multiplication that only you are able to do, 30, 60, 100-fold. And for the partners who made it possible to issue this challenge, and for those who are making decisions right now, bless them, encourage them, and increase them. For we ask it in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. You heard it, $164,000 on the challenge, 31 minutes, 56 seconds on the clock. We need to hear from you, so go to the phone and call us, 1-800-759-0700. What are we asking you to do? We're asking you to take an adventure in giving and say, yes, I'll be a 700 Club member. How much is that? It's just $20 a month, 65 cents a day. So do it now. Call now. Let's go to Wendy at the phones. Wendy?
Hey, Gordon. In 2002, Daniel Fazina walked into a doctor's office and he got a death sentence. But 13 years later, Daniel is still alive and cancer-free. And you can see his story and more in Pat Robertson's latest DVD, Be Healed. Take a look.
You know, you hear the word cancer and you just automatically associate it with death and dying.
When they took that second scan, they were just hoping the tumor would be smaller, and it came back completely negative, like just gone.
My name is Daniel Fazina, and God healed me of cancer, a cancer that doctors said could have killed me within months to even weeks. My story is included in Pat Robertson's new DVD, Be Healed, and I encourage you to watch it, be touched by God, and receive your own miracle.
Available now.
You know, a lot of times our healing takes time, a lot longer than we'd like it to. But, you know, I believe God is saying to you today, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Have faith, because God still heals today. He was opening blind eyes and deaf ears 2,000 years ago, and he still does it today. We want to increase your faith. We want to help you believe for your miracle in Pat's new teaching called Be Healed. This is yours when you call right now and just say, yes, I want to join the 700 Club. Well, how much is that? Glad you asked. Just 65 cents a day. Can you believe that? 65 cents a day, $20 a month to change the world. Now, if you're already a CBN partner, I want to say thank you so much. You're making a difference in lives all over the world, and we can't do it without you. But I'd like to challenge you. This year, it's a brand new year. Let's take it up to the next level. Let's be more of a blessing so God can bless us even more. $40 a month is our gold level. When you go there, we're going to bless you back with 3 DVDs, 1 for you, 2 to give away to your friends and family. If you can do more, a lot of us can. Let's take it up to $84 a month. That's our 1,000 Club level. We're going to bless you back with 5. We are in the middle of a big challenge. Let's put the number up on the screen, $164,000. If you call right now, every dollar that you pledge will be matched dollar for dollar. It's a great deal. This is the time to do it. We need your help. Terry?
Well, for years, a couple in China had wanted a family, but when they finally had children, it wasn't exactly a happy time because both of them were born with life-threatening conditions.
After the death of 2 children and several miscarriages, the Tongs finally had the family they'd always hoped for.
We had 2 children who loved each other.
At night, when they were sleeping, I would hold their little hands and feet.
Then Sean got very sick. His big sister remembers.
His face turned red. All he did was cry, and he would not eat anything.
A doctor said that the Tong son had a hole in his heart, and soon after, they found out their daughter Fong did too.
My children were always weak and on drips and antibiotics.
I was tortured every day with thoughts that I would lose the children like we had lost out others. I would wake up in a cold sweat and run to see if Sean and Fang were okay.
As the years passed, things only got worse. The children needed heart surgery. But with the income the Tongs make from farming, it would take 20 years to save for 2 surgeries.
Neither of them had strength to play outside. Fang could not even climb stairs.
But she never gave up hope.
My sister always cheered me up and said that we would be fine and there was no need to worry about our disease.
I hope that one day we would be able to go outside and explore the world.
It seemed like wishful thinking until someone introduced the Tongs to CBN. And we said we would help provide heart surgery for both of their children.
I had never heard of complete strangers giving their money to help people like us. And you helped us so fast and used the best hospital possible.
Since their surgeries, Sean and Fang have made remarkable recoveries.
I'm so happy. All I want to do is pick flowers. We are not tired anymore. I'm completely cured, and so is Sean.
You can see how big and strong I am.
You saved my whole family from the shadow of death.
Sean and Fang, they are darling children. Excuse me, children who would have had no hope and no future if you hadn't been there. That's why we're asking you today to go to your phone and to stand with us. There are people around the world who are in desperate need. They have no hope, they have no future, and God opens doors of opportunity when we link arms together for us to truly make a difference. You do that when you join the 700 Club. Will you do it today? A general membership is $20 a month. Many of you are already 700 Club members. Would you consider going up to 700 Club Gold? That's a gift of $40 a month. 1,000 Club members join us at $84 a month. There you can see the 2,500 Club. Our founders level, that translates to $5,000 a year. Some of you might even want to consider joining the Chairman's Circle. Those are friends that give gifts of $10,000 or more a year. Ask God what He'd have you to do, and then call, and call with expectancy, call with the satisfaction of knowing you are really touching lives and you are making a difference. 1-800-759-0700 is the number to call. Just say, I'd like to join the 700 Club. Gordon?
Well, when you join, you're helping families around the world and also here at home. In Memphis, thousands of hungry children are now getting free groceries every week at school with help from Operation Blessing.
Delilah Minton loves going to school, but she couldn't concentrate after her father lost his job. Most days, Delilah and her brothers and sisters came home hungry to empty kitchen cabinets.
We had car payments on our car, and we had a house payment. My husband lost his job. We couldn't pay any of this. And it was just the most awful feeling in the world.
Johnny and Molly collected scrap metal to sell while Johnny looked for a new job. They did everything they could to bring in more money, but it was still hard to put food on the table.
It makes me want to cry every time I think about it.
Then Operation Blessing partner Life Church started delivering bags of food to the Minton School. Director Joe Carson leads the outreach.
Operation Blessing has helped us tremendously by supplying the food resources for us to be able to connect with families. We're able to satisfy a physical need, and it opens them up to the hope of the gospel itself.
Life Church gives food to more than 3,000 students every Friday in one of the most impoverished areas of Memphis, Tennessee. Principal Angela Kramer says she's seen an improvement in the school and community because of the food.
The Food Bag Fridays have become a big part of who we are. The stability and the consistency of this really shows the families and the students that Operation Blessing cares about the need that you have, and I think it just brings hope.
Thanks to Operation Blessing, the food the Minton children brought home helped feed the whole family until Johnny got a new job as a mechanic.
Makes me feel great that they're happy about it, and you know, somebody cares about the school and cares about the community. It's a good thing for everybody, because they do help out a lot of people.
Now Delilah can focus on her studies and not an aching stomach.
It makes me feel good to know that Operation Blessing and Life Church, that they care about us. And that, to me, is more important than the food in the bag, just to know that they care about my family. I love them for it.
Just to know that they care. Just think of what it means to somebody when they're down, when they're hurting, to have somebody come alongside. We care, and we don't want to give a hand out, we want to give a hand up, we want to help you. And you're doing that when you join the 700 Club, and you're doing that in numbers that are huge. 3 million Americans are getting fed every single month by Operation Blessing. If you want to be a part of it, join with us. Join in everything we're doing. 1-800-759-0700. And if you ever wonder, does God notice? Does He notice what I do? Here's something from Acts chapter 10, and let me paint the scene for you. Here's Cornelius. He's a Gentile. He's known as a righteous Gentile, but the apostles aren't taking the gospel yet to the Gentiles. They're still concerned that this is for Israel and it's not for the Gentiles. Well, God opened that up, but here's the reason why. An angel comes to him. This is Acts chapter 10, verse 4. The angel answers, "Your prayers and gifts to the poor have come up as a memorial offering before God." Start thinking about that. When you give, your gifts to the poor come up as a memorial offering to God. What a wonderful sense going forward in life to know that your prayers and your gifts to the poor are known to Him and come up to Him. That encourages me. I hope it encourages you. And if you want to start a life of giving, now's the time to do it. 1-800-759-0700. Just say, yes, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of everything you're doing around the world. Let's go to Wendy at the phones. Wendy?
Thanks, Gordon. Well, the Bible is full of stories of God healing people, but does that still happen today? The answer is yes. And Vera Kirkpatrick is living proof.
Does God heal leukemia?
I've got some bad news. And I said, what's the bad news? He goes, I think you have leukemia. And he said, what's worse? I think you have about 2 weeks to live.
Healed.
I've never seen anything like Vera. I've never seen anybody recover so quickly and so profoundly.
You can put your trust in medicine, but the ultimate healing is going to have to be God.
Discover how God still heals today in Pat Robertson's latest teaching, Be Healed.
Can you imagine being told you have 2 weeks to live and you weren't expecting that news? Well, we love our doctors and thank God for them, but isn't it wonderful that we serve the great physician? God has the final say in our healing. Well, we want to encourage you today. If you're believing God for healing, we've got the perfect gift for you. It's called Be Healed. How to experience God's healing power. It's Pat's new teaching, and you can have it. All you have to do is say, yes, I want to join the 700 Club. 1-800-759-0700 is the number to call, or you can log on to cbn.com. Now, I'd like to challenge you. It's a brand new year. If you're already a CBN partner at $20 a month, I want to say thank you so much, but let's take it up to the next level. $40 a month is our gold level. If you go there, we're going to bless you back with 3 DVDs, 1 for you and 2 to give away. And a lot of us can do more. Let's take it up to the 1,000 Club level or even higher. We have many levels here at CBN 700 Club. And if you go there, we're going to bless you with 5. We're in the middle of a challenge right now, which means every dollar that you pledge towards this $164,000 challenge will be matched. So this is the time, this is the hour. We need your help. Gordon?
All right, if I can get a drum roll, I've got some great news. Some partners from right here in Virginia say they want to add to this challenge. They want to add $106,000 to it. That takes us to $270,000. Lord, we just ask for blessing over the partners who made it possible to issue this challenge. And for those making decisions and just considering Him, I just ask that you would encourage them. Let their prayers be known before you. For we ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen. $270,000 on the challenge, 19 minutes, 3 seconds on the clock. We need to hear from you, so call us. 1-800-759-0700. When you call, ask for Pledge Express. That's electronic monthly giving where the bank does all the work and there are no checks to write. And we can send as our gift to you, Power for Life monthly teaching CDs. So if you'd like those, ask for Pledge Express when you call, or you can just give on cbn.com. When you give monthly on the internet, you automatically sign up for Pledge Express. Do it now, 1-800-759-0700. Well, today, Gary and Sandy are self-employed and living in their dream house. But at one time, they were out of work, out of money, and praying for a miracle.
Tucked into the Black Hills of South Dakota lies the historic Homestake Mansion.
home of CBN partners Gary and Sandy Coe.
Come on in.
The property is more than a home to the Coes. As a place of choice for weddings and special events, it's also a business. But it took years for the couple to be in a position to buy the home, because in 1990, Gary, a commercial pilot, became ill and couldn't work.
One day he got out of bed and he couldn't move. He was diagnosed with what was called cytomegalovirus. His immune system shut down.
Eventually, Gary recovered, but he had been out of work so long, they lost their home. They cut back where they could, except their tithing and giving.
Well, we're partners with the Lord, and we've got that really clear. Everything that we have really does belong to Him.
And we kept that commitment, and all I can say is doors started opening for us that only God could open.
By now, the Coes had started a new business, developing health supplements. They made two commitments: to run it debt-free and to give off the profits. The business grew steadily, and in short time, they recovered from their financial crisis.
After years of struggle, things just have become easy.
They also became CBN partners.
I know when I give to CBN, they are feeding people, they're clothing people, they're going into every part of the world if there's a disaster. They're teaching the Word of God.
So when the Homestake Mansion came up for sale, the Coes were finally in a position to make an offer. They got the home for half the asking price.
To think that we'd even be here and that God would entrust us with this property it's just the goodness of God.
Today, the couple's businesses continue to grow, and they're convinced it's because of their faithfulness to give.
God has opened up a treasure that only He could do.
God opens up treasure that only He can do. He can show you wealth in secret places. That's one of the promises in Isaiah. But how does He do this, and why does He do this? Well, the why is because He loves you, and the how is because you believe it, and you have faith in Him, and you put His principles to work. If you want to start doing that, give us a call, 1-800-759-0700. Just say, I want to give to the 700 Club. I want to be a part of everything you're doing. I want to be a part of preaching the gospel around the world. I want to be a part of helping people. We've got 15 minutes and 32 seconds left in a $270,000 challenge. So call us right now, 1-800-759-0700. Terry?
In parts of Honduras, people don't have access to clean drinking water. In fact, children in one village were so desperate for water, they were forced to steal it.
Lillian and her big brother Manuel sometimes came to this stream to fill their bottles with water, even though they knew it was dangerous.
When we got to their property, we had to make sure the farmer was not there. He said that he would kill us if he caught us taking his water.
We knew it was wrong to take the water, but it was the only place we could find some.
For years, this small community in Honduras had faced a water crisis. During the summer, they had to ration the water.
Because we had to buy drinking water. We just couldn't afford any more than 1 glass a day.
One day, the children went back to the stream because they were very thirsty. They didn't notice the farmer watching them.
He said, "Who gave you permission to go on my property?" He screamed at us and said he was going to shoot us if we didn't leave. I couldn't sleep that night because what he said to us. I asked God, how can we get water to drink?
So Operation Blessing helped the community in a couple of important ways. First, we completed a well which had never been finished. Then we connected it to this large tank. Finally, we connected every home in the community to the water source. Now, for the first time ever, 96 families have fresh water to drink. And that means Manuel no longer has to get water from the neighbor's stream.
Thanks for bringing the water to my home. Thanks, Operation Blessing, for the water. God bless you.
96 families given clean drinking water after a lifetime up to that point of never being able to have that, never even dreaming it was possible. It's people like you who made the difference. How did that happen? The 700 Club is all about bringing people together to meet the needs of others who are struggling. Be a part of that today. 65 cents a day, $20 a month makes you a 700 Club member. So we want to encourage you to join. If you're already a 700 Club member, take it up to the next level. This is how the work of the Lord gets done around the world. People get touched, their need gets met, and you and I have the privilege and the opportunity of being a part of that kind of solution in someone's life, that kind of caring. It'll bless you, I promise you. By the way, when you call and join the 700 Club today, will you do it using Pledge Express? That's electronic monthly giving. It means your bank does all the work. You don't have to have envelopes or stamps on hand. You don't have to remember to mail anything. But it does save us some processing costs so that we can put even more of your gift directly into the lives of people who are in need. And our way of saying thank you for using Pledge Express is to send you Psalms of encouragement. I think this will really bless you. Pat went into the studio and read some of the most wonderful Psalms, put to beautiful music. I think it'll give you a wonderful time of devotion and hope. Also, in addition to that, every month we're going to send you Power for Life teachings. These are teachings we receive corporately here at CBN, and we would love to share them with you as a source of encouragement. So there's the phone number on your screen, 1-800-759-0700. Just call and say, I want to join the 700 Club, and I want to do it using Pledge Express. Gordon?
All right, I've got some great news from partners from Ohio. They're celebrating a wonderful victory from last night. They want to add to this challenge. They want to add $68,979. That takes us up to $338,000, and we need to pray. Lord, we ask for blessing over this, and we ask for a multiplication. 30, 60, 100-fold. The multiplication that you can do. And we just believe in you now, we trust in you now, and we ask it all in the name of Jesus. Bless people now, in Jesus' name, amen. You heard it, 3:38 on the challenge number, 11 minutes and 5 seconds on a clock. We need to hear from you, so call us now, 1-800-759-0700. Let's get the red number up. We've got 107,000 left to go with just 10 minutes. So please go to the phone, call us now, 1-800-759-0700. Well, in Guatemala, a single mother faced a heartbreaking problem. Her son was slowly going blind, and she had no money to pay for the surgery that would save his eyesight.
4-year-old Alexander loves building towers out of bottle caps. But sometimes when the tower falls, his mom notices he has a hard time finding the pieces.
He heard the sound of the cup falling, but couldn't see it. One day I watched him move his hands in a sweeping motion to find the missing caps.
I cannot see things far away, only things very near me.
Ingrid noticed other things, like Alexander standing too close to the TV or putting his eye close to the paper when he was cutting. As a single mom in Guatemala, she couldn't afford to take him to the eye doctor. When she was finally able to borrow the money, she learned her son's problem was far worse than she imagined. The doctor told her that Alexander had developed juvenile cataracts. He was already completely blind in one eye and going blind in the other.
I never imagined that it was so serious. That really scared me.
We were very sad because my brother could not see.
The doctor then told Ingrid that Alexander needed an operation immediately.
I felt so sad because the truth is, I cannot afford a surgery like that for him.
For more than a year after that, Ingrid watched her son continue to go blind. Eventually, she gave up hope.
I was so afraid that he would go to the street and be hit by a car or a motorcycle because he couldn't see.
That's when Ingrid's sister told her about a free eye clinic sponsored by CBN. We quickly arranged for Alexander to have eye surgery in the children's hospital in the city. After the procedure, everyone waited and prayed.
I asked so much, my dear God, to heal my little brother so he could play with me.
The next day, we were there as the doctor removed the bandages. For the first time in his life, Alexander clearly saw his mother's face.
I can see good now. I don't have to get close to anything anymore.
In the days since the surgery, everyone has seen a big difference in Alexander.
Now he can play football with us. He doesn't need to get close to things to see them. Thanks, CBN, for fixing my eyes.
And thank you. If you're a member of the 700 Club, thank you. You're part of that blessing. You're part of everything we're doing around the world. And if you're not a member, call and join us. Join in all we're doing. If you want to see the gospel spread around the world, if you want to see people helped around the world, you can be part of all of it if you join the 700 Club. So call us right now, 1-800-759-0700. We have a tremendous $338,000 challenge before us, and we get the red number up. We've got 77. That's a great number. 7 minutes left, 77 on that, and it's happening. We're going to take the red number down. A 2500 Club member in Jacksonville, Florida has called in and said, I want to double this year. I am going to $5,000. And then here from Mooresville, North Carolina, founder saying, I want to double this year. I want to do it Pledge Express. I'm going to Chairman Circle, $10,000. All of that gets matched and doubled because we have this $338,000 challenge. And you can be a part of it. We don't want to lose any part of this challenge, so we've got $59,000 left with just 6 minutes to go. Call us now, 1-800-759-0700. Let's go to Wendy at the phones. Wendy?
All right, it's happening, Gordon. Well, the Bible is full of stories about healing. The question is, does God still perform those miracles today? See for yourself in Pat's latest DVD, Be Healed.
Does God heal the deaf?
Dr. Schroyer told me at the very beginning, Ian has sensory neural hearing loss, which is nerve damage. It's irreversible, it cannot be fixed.
Healed.
He got his miracle. God healed him.
I was born deaf, and then my ears got healed.
God took something that was impossible and made it possible.
Discover how God still heals today. Be healed.
Jesus went to the cross not just to save us from our sins, but to heal us. The Bible says, by his stripes, by his blood, we are healed. And he's still doing it today. All he wants us to do is believe it and receive it. Well, we want to help you do that with Pat's new teaching called Be Healed. How to experience God's healing power. It's there for you today. We want you to have this. All you have to do is pick up your phone right now and just say yes. I want to join the 700 Club. 1-800-759-0700 is the number to call, or you can log on to cbn.com. That's another great way to give. If you're already a CBN partner, which is just $20 a month, 65 cents a day, thank you so much. You are helping countless people around the world, changing lives every single day, and we can't thank you enough. But I'd like to challenge you. It's a brand new year. Let's take it up to the next level. $40 a month is our 700 Club Gold level. If you go there, we want to bless you back with 3 of our dynamic new teachings, Be Healed. 1 for you, 2 to give away to somebody who maybe is also believing God for healing. If you can do more, let's do more. $84 a month is our 1000 Club level. And, you know, we have many other higher levels too at CBN. If you go there, we're going to bless you back with 5 DVDs so you can give them away to all your families and friends. This is phenomenal. I was watching it again last night. You're going to love it, and you're going to want to give it away. So please give us a call right now. We need your help. Terry, over to you.
In Cambodia, an elderly widow works hard in the rice fields to support her 9-year-old niece. And many nights, there's only enough food to feed one of them.
Every day, Aunt Nim faced a difficult decision. Should she buy rice for dinner or use the extra 25 cents to pay for her niece's daily school fees?
I never went to school, so I want Ray to get an education for a good future.
Aunt Nim has been a widow for 30 years. In spite of the financial challenges, she took in her 9-year-old niece, Ray, after the girl's mother abandoned her.
I am always hungry, but I try not to complain. I wish I could help my aunt more. I feel sorry for her because she works very hard, but we still don't have enough food.
Now Aunt Nim doesn't have to choose between food and school for Sray because CBN's Orphans Promise helped with both problems. First, we started a lunch program in a church near their home. Orphans Promise then gave Srey a uniform and paid her modest school fees, just $55 for an entire year. Finally, to help Aunt Nim bring in a little extra money, we gave her a pig to start a small livestock business.
I am so happy. Soon I will have piglets to sell. Thank you very much, CBN, for making my burden light.
Meanwhile, at the lunch program at the church, Srey is learning something else about Jesus.
I learned about God's Word and that Jesus loves me very much. Thank you, CBN, for telling me about Jesus and helping my family.
God's Word says that really pure religion is reaching out to widows and orphans. You do that when you join the 700 Club, and we want to say thank you. This was just one family out of thousands that you've touched if you're a 700 Club member. Will you join now if you haven't before? And if you're already a club member, go up to the next level. We're in the middle of a challenge, and we could really use a call from you right now, and it means every dollar you give will be matched dollar for dollar. You can't beat that. 1-800-759-0700. Gordon?
Well, Typhoon Haiyan was one of the deadliest tropical cyclones ever recorded. And when the storm hit the Philippines, it swept away millions of homes, including the one where Jenny and her mother lived.
8-year-old Jenny Grace won't forget the day a typhoon ripped through her coastal village in the Philippines. It swept away everything her family owned, except for a single hammock.
I was so scared. The wind was spinning in circles. I saw my shoes and clothes floating in the ocean.
Jenny and her mom, Myrna, have been staying with a neighbor. Jenny's dad had left the country in search of work, so he wasn't home when the storm hit. Myrna didn't have any money to rebuild their house or to restart her craft business.
I felt hopeless. I didn't know where we would live.
CBN first met Jenny and Myrna at a special screening of Superbook at her school. The kids quickly learned the salvation song at the end of the episode.
When it rains hard, my friends and I sing the Superbook song so we won't be afraid.
But Jenny and her mom still faced the challenge of having no place to live.
I drew a picture of our old house. I miss living there.
To help them, CBN built a new house, complete with kitchen, utensils, and supplies. After they moved in, we also gave Myrna everything needed to restart her craft business.
God replaced everything we lost through CBN. We cannot repay your kindness, but we also pray for God to bless everyone who gave to CBN.
I'm so happy we have a roof, walls, and windows. Thank you very much, CBN.
And thank you. If you're giving to CBN, they're praying for you in the Philippines. We're down to the last second in this wonderful $338,000 challenge. And against that, you gave $352,000. We leave you the words from Jesus. If you ask anything in my name, I will do it. For those of you that called and gave, God bless you, and may the windows of heaven open up over you and pour out a blessing you cannot contain.
Pat Robertson recently recorded a very special program to answer the question, does God still heal today?
What we're trying to do here, Scott, is to tell people how they can access the power of the living God through Jesus Christ.
Discover the answers and let your faith be encouraged.
And then Jesus spelled out of how we can have healing and how we can have miracles.
In Pat Robertson's latest DVD, Be Healed, you'll learn the biblical basis for healing today, how to exchange anxiety and worry for faith and confidence, the way to pray for your healing and healing for those you love. Plus, meet real people who've experienced the miraculous healing power of God.
The first thing I did was reached out for a lifesaver, and that was God. You know, you can put your trust in medicine, but the ultimate healing is going to have to be God.
Find out the biblical principles that lead to healing in Pat Robertson's latest teaching, Be Healed. Available now.
Does God heal lymphoma?
The doctor came back and he said, well, we found something, and it's a rather large mass in your chest. And he said, this is very serious. It was, as he feared, lymphatic cancer.
Healed.
Halfway through the treatments, when they took that second scan, which they were just hoping the tumor would be smaller, and it came back completely negative, just gone.
Find out how God still heals today in Pat Robertson's latest teaching, Be Healed. Available now.